Hello, welcome to Axiom Curve Flux News. Today's date's the 17th of January 2015. We've got Bok going to start us off with some news. New Year's, Bok.
Yep, how you doing, guys?
Hey.
Start my screen share. See that, BJ?
Yeah, I've got that. First time today.
Okay, well, my first article is from Natural News. That's naturalnews.com. They're talking about celery. Celery works great for inflammation, gout, cancer, and high blood pressure. A nutrient found in celery has been shown highly effective against inflammation and cancer. Luteolin is a bioflavonoid also found in smaller amounts in peppers, parsley, thyme, basil, and peppermint. And like all bioflavonoids, luteolin has high antioxidant properties, producing a dose-dependent reduction in oxidative DNA damage that is double the amount produced by vitamin C. Um, Inflammatory Research Journal reports a recent study of several kinds of flavonoids which possess anti-inflammatory activity. Results indicated that not only luteolin and quercetin inhibited the platelet activating factor and suppressed inflammatory response induced by allergens. Luteolin inhibited the excess production of TNF-alpha, a direct cause of inflammation. And also down here it says luteolin inhibits the proliferation of tumor cells and inhibits angiogenesis. I believe that has something to do with cholesterol, maybe related to your heart area. And celery also contains a good amount of another highly active bioflavonoid, apigenin, a powerful COX-2 inhibitor able to halt inflammation as effectively as anti-inflammatory drugs. It also exhibits antioxidant and anti-tumor properties. Apigenin is renowned in Chinese medicine for preventing and treating gout and other types of arthritic conditions. In addition, celery contains several other active compounds that promote health and well-being, including phthalates, which have been shown to help lower cholesterol, and coumarins, useful in cancer prevention. Celery is an excellent source of immune-boosting vitamin C, allowing it to be a fighter of the common cold. Its anti-inflammatory properties have also been found effective against asthma. An old Chinese remedy for high blood pressure is to drink celery juice, which you can make in a blender or a juicer. 1 to 2 glasses daily can prevent or normalize high blood pressure. High blood pressure is often responsible for strokes, heart stroke, and kidney failure. Do as the Chinese have been doing for centuries. Eat and drink your celery for a long life, recommends Dr. Mao Xingni in his book, Secrets of Longevity. That's a pretty nice article on celery there. So it contains, not only your regular antioxidants that we hear about, but it also carries these special ones called luteolin and these other bioflavonoids. So, and it also does have vitamin C and the other antioxidant properties. So it's got a high mixture of a lot of powerful stuff. And here's another article by World's Healthiest Foods.org. If you have been accustomed to thinking about celery as crunchy, low-cal vegetable, but not a key part of your health support, it's time to think again. Recent research has greatly bolstered our knowledge about celery's anti-inflammatory health benefits, including its protection against inflammation in the digestive tract itself. Some of the unique non-starch polysaccharides in celery, including apiumin, appear especially important in producing these anti-inflammatory benefits. Unlike starchy polysaccharides that provide plants with a way to store simple sugars, these non-starch polysaccharides in celery help provide this vegetable with its unique structure and are not made from simple sugars, but rather from pectins. In addition to well-known antioxidants like vitamin C and flavonoids, scientists have now identified at least a dozen other types of antioxidant nutrients in celery. These antioxidants include dihydrostilbenoids like luteolin, as well as furanocoumarins. Well, I shouldn't even attempt to read those, but anyhow, the antioxidant support we get from celery is largely due to its phenolic nutrients that have been shown to help protect against unwanted oxygen damage to our cells, blood vessels, and organ systems. And it also mentions that if you're planning to steam celery, that's fine as well. You'll retain, up to 99% of its medicinal properties. Here's a little chart here. Shows you the other vitamins that celery does contain as well. Vitamin K, 33%, molybdenum, 11%, folate, 9%, potassium, 8%, fiber, manganese, vitamin B2, pantothenic acid, copper, calcium, vitamin C, B6, phosphorus, magnesium, vitamin A. Antioxidant and anti-inflammatory support. The celery is an important food source of conventional antioxidant nutrients, including vitamin C, beta-carotene, and manganese, but its claim to fame in terms of antioxidant nutrients may very well be in its phytonutrients. Many of these phytonutrients fall into the category of phenolic antioxidants, have been shown to provide anti-inflammatory benefits as well. Below is a representative list of the phenolic antioxidants found in celery. Yeah, so that's pretty much on the celery here. As mentioned in the previous article, it was found to be excellent in the digestive tract support, cardiovascular support. I mean, wow, this is just another superfood, guys. So I'll quickly move on to my last article here, and then we can comment on these. And with every good comes a bad, I suppose. So here I find the headline today: U2's Bono partners with Monsanto to destroy African agriculture with GMOs. Wow. After being one of the main spokesmen for helping Africa, along with all the summit G meetings and whatnot, this certainly is, well, if it's true, it's not good news. But the bright spot in the end here is it says, Africa says no to agricultural genocide being foisted by U.S. I don't know exactly what kind of power Africa has to stop this from going on, but I guess time will tell, guys. So that's it for me.
Interesting news here, Bok. Yeah, celery. I think you touched on that on the radio show we did with the. I'm not sure if it was the superfoods.
I'm not. I don't think I actually mentioned celery, but
No, it was after we did that. You touched on it, like, but it was around that time. So celery
right, right,
came. We became aware of celery afterwards. So it's nice that
right, right.
you found an article that has gone into it a bit more.
And
Obviously, the
also because of its high water content, it's going to also help you with your hydration. You know,
yeah.
you don't have to go carrying around bottles of water. You just carry a few pieces of celery. Yeah.
Well, we've got Andy who is now. I don't know what he made of that first article. I'm not sure if you got to see it. Basically, Andy, it's going into celery and about anti-inflammatory. I don't know if you can share it back up again, Bok, for Andy to see.
Oh, Andy just joined us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andy, I was talking about the amazing benefits of celery. Um, it not only contained your regular antioxidants, Andy, but it also contained uh, extra stuff, extra bioflavonoids, and these things they call luteolins that have high antioxidant properties. Um, this is on top of the that it also has vitamin C. So it's got like at least three different, anti or in, sorry, antioxidant type properties. And the other one here was being luteolin, and luteolin it inhibits the proliferation of tumor cells and inhibits the angiogenesis. Um, and it also has been found effective in maintaining healthy methylation patterns, protective against DNA mutations that damage cells and cause cancer. And to quickly jump back to here, I was just saying how it's beneficial for you in anti-inflammatory support, antioxidant support, and as well, it's excellent for digestive tract support due to its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory nutrients that help protect the digestive tract as a whole. Celery contains a pectin-based polysaccharides that can provide the stomach with special benefits. So and also it's good for the cardiovascular system support. Um, so we were just talking about how it comes with a whole host of benefits, celery. And there you can see all the various other vitamins and minerals it also has.
Vitamin K. Not very often you hear that one.
Right. It's important. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yes,
Yeah.
Andy.
Okay, right.
We made it in the end. Yeah. Celery. Well, we used to eat it at least once or twice a week when I was a kid, because we used to have a salad every Sunday tea time, whether it was winter, summer, or whatever, and there was always a bowl full of stick of celery on the table. And at times during the week, 2 or 3 times, my mum would stick me a stick of celery in a little luncheon box to take to school with me. Even though we used to have school meals at the school, I used to have a stick of celery. So I used to eat it pretty much almost every day a week when I was a kid. My mother said it was very important that I ate it, and it was one of the most important foods.
It is indeed. It actually contains its special salts. It really does contain so many different things.
Yeah, and I kind of knew a little bit about the health benefits of celery, but not to the extent that what you've pointed out in your article there and in your bits and pieces out there. But I knew it was an important foodstuff, and way back. I mean, I'm a bit on the
Yeah.
latter stages of life, but even when I was, only very small, I can remember eating it,
Yeah.
from way back. So it was very important. as well as some other foodstuffs. Of course, it wasn't expensive as well, which kind of made it more useful in that respect. But yeah, I don't think kids get it today as a normal food diet thing in their diet. I should imagine most kids don't even know what a stick of celery is.
Right.
Oh, and I'm touching on the YouTube Bono. Well, I don't expect anything else from the from YouTube. Not now. Maybe in their very, very, very early days when they were what we used to call an R&B band when they first hit the scene. Yeah, but all of a sudden the record deal come and yeah, they took the shilling as we say over here, the corporate shilling, and the rest is history. I haven't got time for the band whatsoever. Never will have, and yeah. Enough, at least said about them.
Not even on a beautiful day, Andy.
Excuse me while I get my bag, you know, my airbag. I don't know. No, I just yeah.
I mean, you would think surely someone of his stature has heard of permaculture. I mean, it would be interesting to find out. Well, you know, how about you interview Bono and ask him, what does he eat? Do you eat genetically modified foods a lot?
Well, we used to have an advert here, Bok, and it was something like an orange salesman who would go around these farms, and if they grew the standard of oranges that he wanted, he would give them a contract, and his name was the man from Del Monte. Well, in U2's case, it's the man from GMO. He say yes. If you know the advert, you know what I mean by that. But it's yeah, I haven't got time for them people. They're yeah, they're like the should we say Saint Bob of Geldof and the rest of them? Nah.
But I mean, you know, basically, it's just a huge waste of time, because what they really need to do is, you know, is to rebuild with the permaculture methods, and it'll restore the microbiology in areas where it's been lost. You know.
Well, it doesn't make big corporate bucks, does it?
Yeah.
And also, you know, GMO. I mean, people don't.
Or is this that are these guys getting ready for the future? That perhaps, you know, many people have predicted across the board that, you know, that there could be future world food shortages, and with that in mind, they're going to have to take advantage of Africa. Because surprisingly, Africa is not a big producer of, you know, food export.
Well, I believe in good old Mother Earth and nature, and I believe that the human species, like any other animal on the planet, is self-regulatory in population if it's left alone to do its own thing. But of course, corporations don't see it that way, and you know, there's always been famines and things throughout different times during history, and this sort of thing. Global climate change, as they call it, has always happened, and you know, these things even out given time, and that's not say that, you know, people should suffer, but it's not about that, Bok. It's not about any of that. I don't believe. But there you go. That's what I think. So.
Well, this article says here, it is a tired mantra that, upon closer look, is easily exposed as a complete sham to both exploit the vulnerable for obscene profits and seize control over the food supply.
Mm.
And this is the overtly evil agenda that is one that Bono apparently believes is good, at least for the American interests that are slithering their way into the Africa. under the guise of helping the poor.
Yeah, it goes back to what you were saying about where they just need to leave Africa alone, get out of here.
Well, I mean, they do need help. It's just that they need the right
Not
kind
from
of
them,
help because
not yeah,
they've been um,
not
they've
from
been
the likes of you
exploited
two.
for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. So they do
Well,
need help.
but what they don't need is they don't need some IMF bank tying them up with loans and destroying their infrastructure and destroying their countries, and you know, making these
Right.
countries an offer they can't refuse, kind of
See,
thing.
I mean, they have these various places around the world they call World Heritage sites, and you know, for the most part, most parts of Africa should be declared as World Heritage. That's the only way. Like, I think you can, you know, politically protect that, right or wrong.
Yeah, good articles then, Buck. Right, Andy, over to you if you're ready. What's your
Well,
flux?
let's see if we can. I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed here if I can.
Oh yeah, you're on a new system today, so it'll be interesting to see.
Desktop Google Hangouts, isn't it? I hope. Press the buttons, see what happens. Select a into the show in the video call. Yes, I said it. Get on with it. Oh, is that come up?
Yep, it's come up.
Okay, look, I've got it. This is going to take a bit of time, boys, I think. Okay, has that come up? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I'll just get through these articles. There's not much in them, but you know, everybody's scripping and scraping around to pay bills or pay. Let's get it right. Priorities to feed themselves. To hell with bills. That's what I say. But even people are struggling to feed themselves. So here we are. But that's all right because Goldman Sachs workers are on a nice big bonus yet again. 8 billion bonus for Goldman Sachs bankers who helped create world financial crisis. Goldman Sachs has revealed an 8.3 billion pay and perks bonanza that means staff will receive an average of £245,000 each. The Mirror reports angry politicians promised that the fat cat bankers who brought the world's economy to its knees would pay the price for their reckless blunders. But there was more fury yesterday as investment bank Goldman Sachs revealed that its staff will have earned $8.3 billion in wages and perks. It averages out as a massive £245,000 for each worker in the last 12 months. But thousands of the top traders and deal makers, many of them based in Britain, pocketed much bigger amounts. Some payouts run into seven figures at the company, which was also slated for the large profits it turned over in the botched sell-off of the Royal Mail. Reports claim Karen Cook, Goldman Sachs boss in Europe, could bag a bonus of up to £10 million when figures are revealed in the next few days. So that's all right. Obviously somebody's doing well out of the world's depression because that's what it is. It's not a recession. It's a depression. And it's only the false figures that make people think it's other but that. So, you know, that's what's going on. And obviously a few, and I mean a few, are doing quite nicely out of what people are having to go through. Anyway, moving on to this thing. Here we are. There's this thing here. And there's a classic, I would say, portrait of a psychopath. And his name is Tony Blair. As Tony Blair, force is necessary in struggle against radical Islam. Tony Blair has called for a US-led effort to confront the substantial minority of Muslims who support terrorism during a meeting with top Republicans that reunited the former British Prime Minister with hawks in the party who believe the White House response to recent attacks has been too limited. According to the source present at the closed-door strategy session, attended by nearly 300 Republican senators and congressmen, the former Prime Minister argued that force would be needed in what he called a generational struggle, but more important would be a global alliance to teach tolerance, as millions of people in the Muslim world are systematically being taught to be intolerant. Blair, who was introduced by Senator John Honest McCain, also reportedly argued that radical Islam and the terrorism associated with it had not been contained, that countries in the West didn't cause it but were caught up in it, and that it was neither isolated nor insignificant, and that while the majority of Muslims oppose it, a substantial and not a fringe minority supported it. There you go. Well, like attracts like. Tony Blair and Senator John McCain. Two chaps that would probably be on your top of your list to invite to your party, perhaps, you know.
Mr. Blair, the man of the year.
You know, look at that face, you know.
Or did he get a lifetime recognition award or something like that, Andy? The children, right? Something to do with children?
That's right. Philanthropist of the Year last year award. Jolly decent chap. Moving on. In one side tale in America to another, where he was at that meeting. More blacks incarcerated in US than apartheid South Africa. So we're wondering what's going on with this Ferguson and all the rest of it. And lots of theories going out there, you know, and this sort of thing, saying it's all put up, whatever. But anyway, here's some statistics that people should mull over. Shocking statistics show the disproportionate number of black people in jails and prisons throughout the United States today. The US has more prisoners than Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, North Korea, Iran, and many other countries we typically view as undemocratic. The US comprises of 5% of the world's population, yet it has 25% of the world's prisoners. Research suggests the United States treats its black prisoners unfairly. For instance, did you know? I'll get down here, so it's a bit slow, this. More black people are in a correctional facility than in 1850 slaveholding America. More black people are in jail today than there were in apartheid South Africa. More black people are feeling disenfranchised today than the time when the constitutional amendment giving black voting rights was ratified. The WashingtonBlog.com reports Michelle Alexander, a law school professor who directed Stanford Law School of Civil Rights Clinic, served as law clerk for Justice Harry Blackburn at the US Supreme Court, notes the United States incarcerates a high percentage of black men than South Africa did at the height of the apartheid, primarily because of these significant incarceration rates. The level of black youth poverty is higher today than it was in 1968. You know, MLK. An African American male is sentenced an average of 20 to 50 times longer prison term than a white male convicted of the same drug crime. Over 2.3 million men in America are in prison, about half for drug crimes. 70% of all men imprisoned are black or Hispanic. 30 years ago, before the war on drugs was implemented, there were only 300,000 people in the American prison system. There are 2.7 million children whose fathers or mothers are in prison, on probation or on parole. There are 7 million Americans either in prison or on probation or on parole, mostly for selling or using drugs. In many inner cities, 80% of young men have prison records. These convictions will remain on their records permanently, limiting their voting rights and their ability to find employment. Currently, in all but 2 states, citizens with felony convictions are permanently or temporarily prohibited from voting. The United States is the only country that permits permanent disenfranchisement of felons even after completion of their sentence. Indeed, stop that a minute. Indeed, since 1971 there have been more than 40 million arrests for drug-related offences, even though blacks and whites have similar levels of drug use. Blacks are 10 times as likely to be incarcerated for drug crimes. There are more blacks under correctional control today in prison or jail, on probation or parole, than there were enslaved in 1850, a decade before the Civil War began. As of 2004, more African Americans men were disenfranchised due to the felon disenfranchisement laws than in 1870. The year of the 15th Amendment was ratified, prohibiting laws that explicitly deny the right to vote on the basis of race. In 2005, 4 out of 5 drug arrests were for possession, not trafficking. That's important. And 80% of the increase in the drug arrests in 1990s was for marijuana. Mary Jane. There are 50,000 arrests for low-level pot possession a year in New York, representing 1 out of every 7 cases that turn up in criminal courts. Most of these arrests are black and Hispanic men. Some interesting data there. Unbelievable data, actually, if you really sit down and think about it. And you wonder why it's not just about, perhaps, unlawful killings by police constables, or whatever they call law enforcement officers, whatever they could want to be in America. It's a lot deeper, and I think a lot of people know it's a lot deeper than what's being put out by the main media. I was
just going to say that, Andy. It's pretty deep.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, everybody in, well, I don't know about today's schools, but everybody knew who Martin Luther King was when I was a kid, or even it happened to my teenage days and everything, and the civil rights disputes and protests and everything. But what was it for? You know.
And you know, today's culture and media hasn't helped their cause any at all either.
No.
You know,
I mean, this is the land of opportunity, isn't it?
Because that's why they probably kind of have a disconnect, because you know their culture was destroyed. Most of them don't even have their real names, Andy. You know, that's a big disconnect for somebody. You know, even whether you realize it or not.
No, that's right. Yeah. Exactly, Bob. Exactly. Well, there you go. I mean, these, you know, I think there was a show on BBC, believe it or not. What's it with Stephen Fry on it? It's like a Did You Know type program, and they got comedian panelists on it, and he actually brought up, where does 1% of all Americans live? And I went, oh, I don't know, at home, wherever, and they said no, in prison. And they at first thought, well, hang on a minute. So when he run the numbers, how much that was and everything, and what the crimes were, because they have the 3 strikes and you're out. You can do like 2 crimes, which could be semi-serious or not, right? But on the 3rd crime, it could be just, you know, jaywalking or looking at a policeman the wrong way. You get 25 years. That's their justice system. 3 strikes and you're out. Or it can be up to 25 years, depending on what the previous, whatever, warnings were. Warnings! Not convictions, warnings or whatever. I mean, you know, land of the free, home of the brave. Well, there you go. That's about me, PJ. I don't know if you've got anything to say on that.
I think you've covered it, Andy. Interesting part of the article we're talking about, children and growing up to when, when they leave school, they get jobs and all the reports that they make are in while they're going through school, has an effect on when they leave, and they're being forced to carry this paperwork on to make it even harder for them to get jobs. It seems to be, well, to me, in my opinion, that the only job they want these people to have is one in prison.
Well, actually, there's another little. I mean, I was made aware of reading an article that the military industrial complex, most of their kit, helmets, regular boots, shirts, trousers, everything that the military industrial complex, the American Army and whatever, is supplied by the prisoners. And they're corporations that run the prisons and make money off of it.
Oh yeah, they've had to make registration, car plates, number plates and all sorts, haven't they, in the past?
Exactly that, So, hey, go to America because it's good to be put in prison because you can serve the land of the free.
I think we've got the 3 strikes in UK, have we not?
I don't know. No, I don't think you got. Well, you probably got 1 strike in the UK the way things are going, and that's not even 1 strike. It's just, you're out,
Well, attitude over here of what, stereotyping. If you haven't got a job, you're seen as some sort of scum to society. So at least, you can't say that for the people over there that are banged up, incarcerated.
Well, I actually look on society.
If that's where all the jobs appear to be behind bars.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're going to see something similar happening in the UK if it hasn't happened already. I mean, I've never had to spend a term, but on Her Majesty's pleasure. You know what I mean? So I really don't know, but you do hear some stories, but who knows? Perhaps that's perhaps that's progress. Perhaps they call it progress. That if you've got a good prison record and plenty of time in doing stir, as we used to say, then obviously America will welcome you with open arms because they've put you straight to work in one of their places of business, won't they? I don't know.
I don't know what the capacity levels are over there, whether they've got much room. I know in UK they're struggling for room in prisons, aren't they?
Yeah, but they've got all these centres, haven't they, where they hold asylum seekers, and not many people know much about what goes on inside them. And I've heard stories about about them where people are being held not just months, for years, and being kept in there, and that some of them are doing work and cleaning the centre and having to do things, being ordered around to do work while they wait for their asylum case to come up, which can be months, which can be years.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my variety tonight. So, what you got, PJ?
No worries, I'll take it off you there, Andy.
Can I then take it off?
Yeah, you can stop yourself now. Should be showing on your screen, hopefully.
That's it.
Can you see us now yet?
Yeah, I see. Yep.
Okay, this is the image shows the varying levels of light pollution on Earth as seen from space. Canadian scientist Felix Farrand Deschnes created the images to highlight our waste of energy. So there's plenty of images from around different parts of Europe. There's Africa. It's a global shot. That's the city of corruption. the military industrial complex. Another angle of it. Well, that could be, oh yeah, it's China. Yeah, China there at the bottom, Japan, Korea, Australia, Middle East, the Indian subcontinent, South America, North America at night from space, and Europe and North Africa at night. So I thought I'd start off with them images for you guys, because my topic tonight is going to be discussing energy. So the past few days, energy bills have fallen £20 in a week, and further cuts are due. Householders who buy a fixed tariff are already seeing a 2% price reduction. So it's been an interesting week in the energy section of things. But however, the savings are only available to customers who change suppliers from today, which was yesterday on the 16th, as these prices reflect the cheapest tariffs on the market available to new customers. So with the oil going down, the inflation figures reducing, and I do emphasise figures for certain people who are listening. So what's been happening? Let me tell you what's happening then, and bring you up to speed the best that I can work it out. I think we started off with Eon. These were the first of the big six to lower the prices amidst the wholesale gas and decreases. They dropped theirs to, I think, was 923, I think, a year, £923 a year, yeah, on what they've called the Eon Energy Fix 1 year. That's the cheapest one that these are offering, but since then we've been told Extra Energy, which is this company, these are offering a rate of 918, which is, you know, a few pound more than what Eon's offered. Empower, these guys have been getting involved. Empower fuels debate over energy prices cuts. So there's been a bit of different views. Some of the big six companies have refused to lower the prices, meaning, oh, I just closed one of my articles there. I'll probably just try and get that back. There you go. Meaning that some customers could be losing £140 a year by failing to pass on savings. The reasons why some of these companies are reluctant to lower the prices are because apparently of Ed Miliband, surprisingly, and his decision or so-called plan to freeze the proposed prices. So some companies are not, you know, too sure if they should really lower their prices, even though other companies like Scottish and Southern Electric, who bought their energy in advance, they're still trying to use this scenario with Ed Miliband blaming him as being the reason why many 11 million homes are not seeing the £140. Bearing in mind, you can only get this offer if you changed your supplier from yesterday. So if you're stuck due to a debt and you're not allowed to change your supplier, then I do feel, you know, sorry for you, because I'm in the same boat myself. Not like these figures mean anything, because no doubt in a few months they'll just whack them straight back up. What else has been happening? Here's a go again, Ed Miliband. Let's finish off with this. The political and media pressures at the moment make it more difficult to reduce prices and then increase them again next spring. Paul Mazura, its chief executive, said, "We are acutely aware that if the Labour Party were to implement their proposed price freeze, we will be living with the consequences of our standard rate tariff price for a very long time, and beyond the level of risk that we could manage in the wholesale market." One of the big six suppliers to see responded to Labour's freeze by announcing last March it would freeze its own prices until 2016. It admitted at that time that it was buying its energy much further in advance than usual and might therefore be unable to pass on the benefits if prices fall. So, is it a benefit? Are you entitled to it? Who knows? I don't think really you're the one to decide, really. It depends on your situation. Myself, I'm stuck with SSE. I'm not able to move supplier, so therefore I'll not be able to benefit from 130 or 140 pound of a reduced bill. I don't know about you guys. I know that box over in Canada, so you probably won't be too interested in what these articles are referring to. But Andy, what about yourself?
Well, it's just a big scam, really. If you look into the whole thing about energy prices and energy, all these eons and all these different companies and that, they're all basically the same large company.
So what do you think about the everybody just all of a sudden wanting to reduce the prices? The oil's gone down, gas and energy seems to be going down.
Well, well, my opinion of it, PJ, is you shouldn't pay a penny anyway because they're already paid. But I don't expect many people who come on. Well, if you get any listeners, that will understand that. But basically,
no. Well, let me try with this one, Andy. Let me give my best shot. This is today's article from The Economist. Seize the day. The fall in the price of oil and gas provides a once in a generation opportunity to fix bad energy policies. Most of the time, economic policy making is about tinkering at the edges. Politicians argue furiously about modest changes to taxes or spending. Once in a while, however, momentous shifts are possible. From Deng Xiaoping's market opening in 1978 to Poland's adoption of shock therapy in 1990, bold politicians have seized propitious circumstances to push through reforms that transformed their countries. Such a once-in-a-generation opportunity exists today. The plunging price of oil, coupled with advances in clean energy and conservation, offers politicians around the world the chance to rationalise energy policy. They can get rid of billions of dollars of distorting subsidies, especially for dirty fuels, whilst shifting taxes toward carbon use. A cheaper, greener and more reliable energy future could be within reach. The most obvious reason for optimism is the plunge in energy costs. Not only has the price of oil halved in the past 6 months, but natural gas is the cheapest it has been in a decade. Bar a few panic months after Lehman Brothers collapsed, when the world economy appeared to be imploding, there are growing signs that low prices are here to stay. The rising chatter of mega mergers in the oil industry is a sure sign that oilmen are bracing for a shakeout. Less noticed, the price of cleaner forms of energy is also falling, as our special report this week explains. And new technology is allowing better management of the consumption of energy, especially electricity. That should help cut waste and thus lower costs still further. For decades, the big question about energy was whether the world could produce enough of it in any form and at any cost. Now suddenly the challenge should be one of managing abundance. Clean up a dirty business. The abundance provides the potential for reform. Far too many economies are littered with the detritus of daft energy policies, based on fears about supply, even though fracking has boosted America's oil output by 2/3 in just 4 years. The country still bans the export of oil and restricts exports of natural gas, a legacy of the oil shocks of the 1970s, and a boondoggle for American refiners and petrochemical firms. Congress also keeps handing out money to Iowa's already coddled corn farmers to produce ethanol and has not reviewed generous subsidies for nuclear power despite the Fukushima disaster and ruinous cost overruns at new Western plants. Instead, it has spent 4 long years bickering about whether to allow the proposed Keystone XL pipeline to Canada's tar sands. In Europe, the giveaways are a little different. Billions have gone to wind and solar projects, but the same madness often prevails. Germany's rushed exit from nuclear power ended up helping boost American coal and Russian gas. The more straightforward piece of reform, pretty much everywhere, is simply to remove all the subsidies for producing or consuming fossil fuels. Last year governments around the world threw $550 billion down the rat hole on everything from holding down the price of petrol in poor countries to encouraging companies to search for oil. By one count, such handouts led to extra consumption that was responsible for 36% of global carbon emissions in 1980 to 2010. What a better policy would look like? That should be just the beginning. Politicians, for the most part, have refused to raise taxes on fossil fuels in recent years, on the grounds that making driving or heating homes more expensive would not only annoy voters, but also hurt the economy. Well, I wish the same could be said for the UK. With petrol and natural gas getting cheaper by the day, that excuse is gone. Higher taxes would encourage conservation, dampen future prices swings, and provide a more sensible way for governments to raise money. An obvious starting point is to target petrol. America's federal government levies a tax of just 18 cents a gallon, 5 cents a litre, a figure that it has not dared change since 1993. Even better would be a tax on carbon. Burning fossil fuels harms the health of both the planet and its inhabitants. Taxing carbon would nudge energy firms and consumers towards using cleaner fuels. As fuel prices fall, a carbon tax is becoming less politically daunting. By the same token, in the name of security of supply, governments should be encouraging the growth of seamless global energy markets. Scrapping unfair obstacles to energy investments is just as important as dispensing with subsidies. The more cross-border pipelines and power cables, the better. America should approve Keystone XL and lift its export restrictions, while European politicians should make it much easier to exploit the oil and gas in the shale beneath their feet. I don't think you can make articles like this up, can you guys? Seize the day.
A bit of a joke, isn't it, really?
A to-do list, an ambitious to-do list.
Well, it's all bollocks, a lot of it, because this car, trying to promote the carbon tax is one thing, and say, well, it's a good thing, stop them burning fossil fuels. Oh, shale, this idea of fracking the oil and the gas from shale rock has nothing to do with fossil fuels. They're hydrocarbons. So they ain't even got that right, the article. Saying that removing gas and oil, or very small particles of it from fracking shale rock, they haven't even got that right. So the article's full of holes. But the other thing is, the answer to it all, PJ, like you said in your first article about should they? Well, listen, look, I think in June or July, I think per barrel cost of oil was about $115 or $120. Don't quote me exactly, but somewhere around that mark. And now it's below $50.
Yeah.
So it's gone beyond half. It's about 40% of what it was 6 months ago. Now, if the energy companies wanted to play ball, there's no reason why everybody's electricity or gas bills, the utility bills, should be at least half of what they were in June or July. It's as simple as that. You know, if they were going to play by the fair rules, but oh no, they're going to do that, are they? Because they just want to screw people even harder. And we don't need all this. There's plenty of energy, free energy around this island. I'm just talking about the UK. Wind, tide, solar, and listen, something that's been kept secret, and we all know that there's stories of the military-industrial complex running all their jeeps and lorries and that off of hydrogen, and the hydrogen fuel cell, which is, if you know a little bit about it, I'm not clued up on it, but it's half hydrogen, half oxygen. But that process from water actually makes water too. Yeah. So you don't actually need a lot of water for a hydrogen fuel cell, and you could run motors to turn turbines and etc. to generate electricity that way. So there's plenty of renewable free energy out there, rather than burning fossil fuels.
There's plenty of playlists on the Axiom Curve YouTube, under free energy and alternatives. We're trying to encourage people to look into this sort of stuff, whether it's just on a small level. You can make your own solar panels. Many different things you can actually do if you get away from all this mumbo jumbo stuff. I think we've had enough. We don't want to be seeing these for the rest of his lives, do we?
Not really.
I mean, hold on, me screen's gone dull, Ollie.
It's flashing around now.
Right, we don't want to be seeing these all the time. I don't think they're not designed for the average household anyway, are they? These are for the big companies, and they've just got us paying for them.
Yeah. So, N-Power, that's another one.
Yeah, they're all the same. We're going to go from this to that. From that.
Oh, they need to get out of the left side of their brain, for one.
That's the fear of today. If you don't pay, that's what you're going to see. Day in, day out. And if they bring that window tax back, Andy, oof, it will be like that.
Well, they said they don't want you to go back to the medieval days. I think that was one of the first taxes they brought in during the medieval times, was window tax.
Yeah.
That's how old hat that tax is. You know what I mean?
Well, if you thought that was strange, we've got some more unusual news for you. We've got MARTELL with us tonight on an exclusive, so he's going to be bringing us a little article that he's found in the unusual news side of things. So, pass you over to MARTELL.
Yeah.
I think you've got microphone problems or something else.
Is it clear?
You might have to stick him on your one, PJ.
Yeah, we can't. You have to mute up and come and use this phone.
Alright. So they can...
Yeah, we'll just put you on now. Sit down there.
Alright, so some unusual news today from the Chinese is smog. People think that now smog in China is they're blaming it on smoking bacon, which is very unusual. It says that a Chinese environmental official has claimed that smog in the city of Dazhou, Sichuan province should be blamed on bacon. Rao Bing, deputy head of the Dazhou Environment Protection Bureau, said that city's ongoing bout of lingering smog since January should be blamed on the local affection for smoking bacon, Xinhua reported. Mr. Rao's comments have prompted urban management officials to raid and forcibly close bacon factories, that the report added. While Northerners traditionally serve dumplings for the forthcoming Chinese New Year, sausages and bacon are part of the most southern households' preparation for the Lunar Festival, which falls on February 19th this year. The hardline on the city's pork products was unlikely to produce results. However, according to Bayou Public Welfare Development Centre, an environmental NGO that conducted its own survey into bacon production, smoked bacon has little effect on PM.5, one volunteer explained, referring to the most hazardous from the airborne particulate. China's city and suburbs are sporadically shrouded in a haze of smoke and dust from unbridled construction, vehicle emissions, and coal burning to fuel the country's rapid economic growth. Previously, however, some officials have attempted to shift blame more to convenient scapegoats, including farmers burning straw in Henan and mobile barbecue rigs in Beijing. Bacon smoking sites scattered throughout the city are the latest culprits, despite the fact that, according to the NGO, their impact has a maximum range of 50 meters. Observers on the Weibo social networking website were quick to point out that bacon predates smog by several countries. And they're saying only a pig-headed person would think that air pollution was caused by smoking bacon, commented one. And that's it for the unusual news.
Thanks, Martell.
Right.
So you thought, the British people are being fooled in the energy crisis, or millions of people in poverty, living in fuel poverty, and over in China they're blaming the emissions to smoking bacon.
It sounds to me that China is not only importing American debt, they're also importing some of their propaganda machinery or tools or whatever. PJ, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Maybe they could make some sort of an energy out of that.
What, from smoking bacon?
Out of the emissions, yeah?
Mm. Well, it's renewable.
Well, thanks for that, Martell. That was very good.
Yeah.
Any other comments for tonight before we leave?
I think I'm commented out. I think, PJ.
How about yourself, Buck?
Yeah, that's it from here.
Alright, cool. Do join us again tomorrow for more Flux news. Until then, take care and look after yourselves. We'll be back tomorrow.